Okay, now we are going to get to the part that a lot of you have been waiting for, and it's actually putting the character in the game using the image you took of your face shots earlier in the project. And how did we do this? So let's just analyze this for a minute. This is the original game that I'm using as my template. And you have the character, and then if you hit this little arrow here, you don't have this yet. We're going to create this. Inside of it, you have the leg. Let me hit the scene here. Double click, you have the leg, you have the right leg. Double clicking, you have the body, you have the left arm and the right arm. I guess if I'm looking at a mirror, that's the left and right. And then the head. Okay, and we're just going to set this up first, then we'll animate them in another video. Okay, so now in my Unity, my new game, I don't have that character yet. So let's set that up. So I'm going to right click and say create empty. We're going to name this character. And then his X, Y, and Z coordinate, I want to set him at 0, 0, 0 for right now. Probably will need to be in the negative space, honestly, once we get going. But I'll show you what I mean by that. So in our art, we need all of his pieces. We need the body and the arms and the legs. And how did I do that? I will show you how to do that. So the original drawing of Jesse, we had his arm here, his other arm, his body, his legs. Let's just start with the body. So you're gonna copy this, Command C or Edit Copy, okay? And then in Photoshop, you go to Photoshop, and if you go File, New, the cool thing about this is that it already set the size to whatever you've copied, okay? And let's make sure you have a transparent background. That'll help. Push Create, and then we paste, Edit Paste, and it's gonna ask you a couple questions. Go ahead and hit Smart Object. That's good. And there you have it. Now, if it has these little dots around it, you could double click or push Return. And now from here, you're gonna go File, Export, pick Export as a quick PNG, and then you're gonna export it into the folder that you know where it is gonna be, okay? So I've done this already. I did all the body parts that way. Okay, so you do that for every piece. Okay, you could see I started doing the arm before. I went over here, I selected the arm, I copied, and then when I went into, I said, I pasted it into Photoshop, exported it as a PNG. Okay, now, I don't want to take the whole video doing all that. So let's go into the new folder, and I need to get those parts in here. So I've opened up this folder here, and I'm gonna simply drag in, like, here's the idle face. Let's get the, I'm gonna hold Shift, and I can select multiple things at once. I'm gonna go ahead and get the floss, his face while he's flossing, and I already got the idle. So I'll go do this, drag these in, and then let's get the leg left, leg right, and I already got the trip face in there. And let's drag these in, okay? And now, what we need to do, once we drag those in, you'll see these white boxes behind them. If I hold Shift, I could select multiple objects at once in the folder. I held Shift on there, and you're gonna change default to sprite. Okay, now some of you, it might say multiple when you do that, and you need to switch it to single, and then hit Apply, and then you'll notice it'll go transparent behind there. Great. So now in character, we're just gonna put the different body parts in there. So what did we have in there? We're gonna right click. Well, we know we have I know what the body parts are. So I'm gonna right click and say create empty. And this is gonna be the head. And we will put, we need a sprite renderer on this. Oh, it was already dialed up. Great. And now I'm just gonna take his idle face and put it on there. Okay, now you could see it over here, but oh, there it is in the game. I'm surprised you actually can see all this already. If you don't see it, try putting your Z at -1 for the character. That'll move it in front. Watch this. If I hit 2D, if I change it to 3D and I look, you can see, watch, I'm gonna grab the character and I'm gonna move him towards the camera. And if you look in the inspector over here, it's moving him on the Z coordinate system. in the game, and then I put them behind the stage, and then so that's a little trick of designing stuff in Unity. Okay, now let's just get all the other parts in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go right click. Or you could do this. You could go copy, Command C, Command V. So I'll change this to body. And you could click here actually and just do this. Scroll looking for the body, Jesse body. Ding. Okay, and then I will take the head and move it upwards. Right there. And if you, I think if you rearrange these, and no, let's not do it that way. Let's put the order in layer. Let's put the head at, say, like 8. And then the body will be at like 7. And then we'll put the legs behind the body, 7. So let's just do right click, create empty. Let's call this leg left. And I'm kind of doing it as if I'm just looking at it. Technically, I guess it would be his right leg. Where are the legs? But looking at it, it's on the left side. And I'm just going to go fast this way. And we're just going to get the whole body in there. Let me copy and paste that. Command C, Command V. We'll call this right leg right. Leg right. Let's just switch this. Jesse leg right. And let's just, watch this. I'm going to use the positive on the X. I just took the negative sign off there, so it moved over. And then I'm going to copy paste both of these at the same time. Command C, Command V. It only did one of them. And we're going to call this arm right. And let's see, Jesse arm right. Where is it? Arm. I guess it's that one. Yep. And then we will move it upwards and maybe out a little bit. Maybe something like that. And then I'm going fast. You guys could dial this in way better. Command C, Command V. I'm going to call this arm left. And let's change this one here to the left. And then I know that I could just make this, put a negative in front of that, and it'll go to the other side on the x-axis. Okay, and there we have it. Is that all the parts that we need? I guess I can move this arm out a little bit. Okay, so we have his whole, we have the character, and we have all of his body parts in there. And yeah, and then I think what I did, honestly, is if all your graphics are really big and it makes your character giant, don't rescale any of these body parts inside of it, but you can scale the entire character. It's like this is the parent game object, and these are all child of that parent, and you could change this to like say 0.8 and 0.8, keep it consistent. And the Z, it doesn't really matter. You can leave it at 1. So that might be the size you want. No, I don't know. Your graphics might be different size. So take a look at that. Push play. Everything will be working, and the character is just going to be standing there until we do the animation stuff next. Okay? So go ahead and have fun putting your character in. Have fun.